Hey everyone! Have you ever wished you had a personal assistant right at your fingertips? One that could tell you the current time, help you search the web, or even set a timer for you? What if I told you that you could build your very own personal assistant chatbot using Python? Sounds intriguing, right? Well, stick around because today, we're diving into this exciting project step by step. Here is a quick preview of the end results. Also, for the ones that manage to get through to the end, I will show you one very cool extra feature you can integrate to your chatbot. First things first, we'll import all the necessary modules. We'll be using Tkinter for our GUI web browser to open search results, and datetime to fetch the current time. We'll also set up the appearance and theme using custom Tkinter. If you do not have the custom Tkinter library installed already, open your terminal or command prompt and type pip install custom Tkinter. Additionally, we'll set the font size to 14. Let's create a function to get the current time. This function will fetch the current time and format it in hours, minutes, and seconds. We use an f-string to set the return value to a string that tells the time. An f-string in Python allows you to include variables directly within a string by placing them inside curly braces. Next, we'll define a function to perform Google searches. This function will open a web browser and search for the query provided by the user. Once again, we use f-strings to include the search term into a string. The set_timer function is responsible for setting a timer for a specified number of seconds. It calls append_chat to notify the user that a timer has been set for seconds. Soon, we'll introduce the append_chat function, so if you encounter an error now, don't worry, it will be resolved once we define this function. For now, you only need to know that the function append_chat will accept two arguments, the message content as the first argument and the tag indicating the message sender as the second argument. Then, it calls update_timer, seconds, to start the countdown. The update_timer function updates the timer every second until it reaches 0. If seconds is greater than 0, it calls append_chat to update the user on the remaining time. Root.after is a method in Tkinter that schedules a function to be called after a given number of milliseconds. 1000 is the number of milliseconds to wait before calling the function. Update_timer is the function that will be called after the specified time delay, and the last argument seconds-1 is the argument that will be passed to the update_timer function when it is called. It represents the number of seconds remaining. Once the countdown reaches 0, it calls timer_done to notify the user that the time is up. The timer_done function not only writes a message in the chat that the time is up, but also creates a pop-up message box to draw extra attention from the user and provide a clearer notification. We create a function to handle different user commands. This function will recognize commands to tell the time, perform a Google search, and set a timer. If the command is not recognized, it will prompt the user to try again. Start with converting the command from the user to lowercase and remove any leading or trailing white space. Check if the command equals time. If so, we set the return value to. What do you think? That's right, the output of the tell_time function we created before. Otherwise, check if the command starts with search. In that case, extract the search query from the command. Check if a query is provided, call the Google_search function with the query, and if no query is provided, prompt the user to provide one. Else, try checking if the command starts with timer. In that case, extract the seconds from the command and convert to integer. Call the set_timer function to start a countdown timer, and set the response message to confirm the timer is set. In an except block, handle the case where the seconds input is not a valid integer. If the command doesn't match any recognized patterns, set the response to inform the user that the command was not understood. Finally, return the response. Let's create functions to handle user input and append chat messages to the chat window. First, let's create a function to handle what will happen when the user presses enter. Begin by retrieving the text entered by the user from the entry widget using entry.get. Check if there is input from the user. If there is, append a message to the chat window indicating what the user typed. To do this, what do we write here to input the message from the user? That's right. The user underscore input in curly braces. Next, call the handle underscore command user underscore input function to process the user's input and generate an appropriate response. Append a message to the chat window displaying the response from the chatbot, tagged as coming from the chatbot. Finally, clear the entry widget to prepare for the next user input using entry.delete. Now let's create the append underscore chat function. It takes two parameters, a string text and a string tag of whom the message text belong to, the user or the chatbot. Configure the chat window to allow editing. Split the text at the first blank. The first string, attained with index 0, will give us who is saying the message, and the second string, attained with the index 1, will give us the actual message. We split them and give them different tags here to be able to later define different styling. We insert both strings into the chat window. Disable further editing of the chat window and ensure it scrolls to display the latest messages at the bottom. We'll also create a function to clear the chat window. This function will reset the chat window and display a welcome message with instructions on how to use the chatbot. Finally, let's set up the GUI components. We'll create the main window using custom Kinter and give it a title and size. We add a scroll text widget for the chat window and configure the appearance of the user and chatbot messages with different boldness and colors. We'll also add an entry widget for user input and buttons to send the input and clear the chat window. The last step in this function is to start the Kinter main event loop. Do you know what line we need to do this? That's right, root.main loop. Great! To start the application, we'll call our create_GUI function. This will launch the GUI and display the chatbot interface when you run the Python script. Let's see if it works. Now, here comes the extra feature. We will make the chatbot talk. To do this, carefully follow these 5 steps. Step 1. Import this library for text-to-speech conversion. If you have not downloaded it before, you need to open your terminal or command prompt and type pip install pyttsx3. Good. Now step 2. Initialize the text-to-speech engine. Step 3. Create this function. Step 4. In the timer_done function, add this line of code. Lastly, for step 5, add this line of code in the on_enter function. Great, now run again and your chatbot should be talking.
The current time is 15 hours 33 minutes and 56 seconds. Here are the results for YouTube. Counting down 3 seconds. Time's up.
Congratulations on completing this project. If you want to deepen your knowledge further, why not challenge yourself with creating a voice-controlled music player? See the link here. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorials and comment your thoughts below. See you next time. Until then, I wish you all some bug-free coding.